Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about my top 5 albums for the month of May. This was a very difficult month. This month was just stacked with incredible records, incredible albums, and I had a hard time narrowing it down to 5, but I did it, and now I'm going to go through them chronological order, starting off with Jungle Rot, A Call to Arms, out May 13th on Unique Leader Records. This is the band's 11th studio album. They are a death metal band, and while this record sounds and feels like Jungle Rot, they didn't change their DNA. They're not changing the direction of the band. The album all around feels a little bit more mature, feels a little bit more complete. They're finally fine-tuning exactly what Jungle Rot is all about and putting together all the right pieces in order to create a death metal record that sounds fresh, that sounds unique, but still stays connected with the trajectory of the band. An album that has great sound, that moves really well. It allows you to see the differences from song to song, and those differences have incredible impact in the overall strength of the collective. Just a magnificent album all around by Jungle Rot. Next we have Evergrey, A Heartless Portrait, out May 20th on Napalm Records. This is the band's 13th studio album. They are a melodic metal band, and what is there to say about Evergrey that hasn't been said before? This album definitely surpasses its predecessor. It's a stronger album, it's a more driven record, it has a lot more heaviness, it depends heavily on the guitars to guide you through the experience, to create the movements, to make the songs feel like they have life, like they have energy. It doesn't depend as heavily on the atmosphere, even though the atmosphere is still present across each and every single song, and it still has some cards to deal as far as what you're going to get out of the entire album. But it's not as deeply connected with it. It's more deeply connected with a rock and roll sound with a guitar heavy influence that makes the album feel more robust, that makes the album feel more powerful, that gives more strength, more texture, more substance to the overall presentation of this record. Magnificent album by Evergrey. I was not expecting anything less than what I got from A Heartless Portrait. Next we have Septicflesh, Modern Primitive, on May 20th on Nuclear Blast. This is the band's 11th studio album. They are a symphonic death metal band. Very hard to follow up Codex Omega. That album was phenomenal. This album has a lot of the same roots, has a lot of the same similarities. It really feels like the sequence to that record. Where that album left off, this album picks up. So there is a sense of continuity, there is a sense of trajectory between both albums, almost like part 1 and part 2. but this album doesn't have the same impact. Codex Omega changed the perception of sound and in terms of what that sound is when it comes to Septicflesh. This album starts to redefine or at least reshape and better connect what that experience is all about. So it's a different album from that perspective. It's an album that's going to offer different attributes, but still has a lot of what its predecessor did and did really well. I like it as a follow-up because of that sense of continuity. I like the sound that it has. It feels like a soundtrack across each and every single song. The cinematic impact of this record is undeniable. The vocal performance, perhaps stronger in this album than Codex Omega. I feel that like the dynamic of the voices, of the vocalists, of the styles really works well throughout the entire record, not just in terms of the lyrical content, but the storytelling aspect, which is so important for Septicflesh. So a very well-rounded record, a very strong album by Septicflesh. Next we have Decapitated, Cancer Culture, out May 27th on Nuclear Blast. This is the band's 8th studio album. They are a death metal band, and this was my favorite album of the month. I normally don't do this. I normally just say my top 5, and I don't really pick one or another as my favorite, but I have to say it. Decapitated, Cancer Culture, this album is phenomenal. Phenomenal. One of the best albums perhaps of the year. Definitely is going to be in the conversation as far as top 10 albums of the entire year of 2022. Is that strong of a record. It just has no weaknesses across any single point. There are a few songs that I would have liked to see slightly different in terms of the dynamic, in terms of the construction, but the album has so much to give. It has so much power. It has so much texture. It has so much strength that even those weaknesses become a little bit isolated and you kind of glaze over them considering the overall quality that exists around it. Just phenomenal album from a sound perspective. Very groovy, very heavy, very powerful, very driven, but at the same time never really repeating itself, never repeating the formula, using the same condiments but in a different mix in order for the songs to have ebbs and flows, to have a different DNA at every single turn, giving life to the record and making the album feel fresh regardless if it's the first or the 10th time there you're going through it. Last but not least, Cabin Boy Jump Ship, Sentiments, out May 27th on AFM Records. This is the band's 2nd studio album. They are electronic core, it's hard to say that, electronic core metal band. Now, this record surprised me. Originally, I wasn't sure that this album was going to move the needle one way or another as far as I'm concerned, because I wasn't sure that the sound or the genre that this band falls in would be something that would appeal to me. This record felt more metal. It felt more metalcore. It had more of a guitar drive, and the electronic components, the keyboards, the synths, created more of an atmosphere. The divide between those two elements and how they interacted with one another is really the winning formula, and it's the reason why this album made this list. I love this sound. I love this combination of elements, this combination of genders, not allowing to be defined just by one style, one approach, really starting to morph, creating something unique, something different, something exciting. This album is exciting to listen to. It's fun to listen to. It's a very vibrant record that has heaviness, that has melody. that has a harsh approach to it, not just from a vocal perspective, not just from a sound, but from a lyrical content, but it also has a more soft and melancholic side that feels more introspective. Very personal album sound-wise, and definitely very personal album lyrically wise. It's a record that has a sense of togetherness that feels like a chapter of a book, and that book would be a diary, because you're almost diving deep into what the band was feeling at the time that the album was created, and that sense of connection that you bridge with the band while listening to this album is undeniable, and that's what sells a listener on a record. So magnificent job by Cabin Boy Jump Ship with Sentiments. And this is it. This is my last album on the list. These are my top 5 for the month of May. Let me know what top 5 made your list. Use the comment section before. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.